Well, hello, and welcome back. If you've been joining me over the last, 4 days, this is the fourth day, then welcome back. I hope you've been able to take some golden nuggets and start implementing, getting into action with some of the things we've covered. This is session 4, where I'll be sharing a mindset boost, particularly 3 common mindsets which I have experienced myself and many of my clients and even colleagues and other people that I've spoken to, particularly who are working in the industry where they or in their industry as a service-based business. So basically they are selling their expertise as various programs and consulting for clients. And this is something which I see them struggle with time and again, and it really does not enable them. If they're struggling with this, it's a block, it's a barrier, these common mindset beliefs, and it keeps them stuck from making a much bigger impact in the world. And so if you're struggling with these, then hopefully today what I'll be sharing is going to help you. But just to recap on what we have covered in the other sessions. In session 1, we talked about some of the common money, marketing and mindset mistakes, particularly that service-based business owners make. One of them was not having a clear business model or simple systems in place. So it stopped them from continuing to grow and expand, because as you know, as a solopreneur, if we're doing everything ourselves, we can't grow. Charging by the hour, not having programs and packages, not really getting clear on your message so that you can really start to position yourself as that authority in that particular area. You know the saying, Jack and Jill of all trades, master of none. Then in session 2, what we covered was one of the money boosts. And that was around how you can start taking your IP and creating that into a signature system, and then ultimately programs, different offerings, so that you are selling outcome-focused packages for your customers or potential customers, rather than just charging by the hour. Because as we've covered previously, you don't see the value, or you can't showcase the value that you offer clients if you're only charging by the hour, and you're often then seen as a commodity. And that's not what you want to have happen when you're speaking to a prospective customer. Then in the marketing boost, we talked about some of the things that you need to have in place in order to stand out, in order to be heard, and in order to be seen as that authority in your field. As we know, there is so much noise out there, great content. You know, there are awesome people probably working in your space too who are doing great things, and we can celebrate that. You know, for me, I think of people working in a similar industry as me. They're collaboration partners, but there is so much business in this world. But one of the things that we do need to do is to become very clear of the type of people who we want to work with, who do we want to support, who do we do our best work with, and then really craft our message around that. So then when that person hears your message, sees your message, reads your message, that it connects with them, so that they can then obviously see that you've got a solution to be able to support them. There is so much business in the world. You just need to be able to carve out your niche and then focus on that. And that is something that I know many people can continue to struggle with if they don't have the right steps in place or the right focus. Now, just a reminder that alongside this training, I have created a work guide, and you can get that work guide at annemariecross.com/5-day masterclass. And if you're not yet part of our community of change makers and aspiring thought leaders, and I love the community that we're creating there, which is the Be the Difference movement, you know, hashtag Be the Difference, then come along and join us. You know, we would love to know more about you, the work that you're doing, and the impact that you want to make in the world. bit.ly/pod tribe, capital P and capital T. Look forward to seeing you there as well. Now, if you do have a comment or you've got a question, today's session is a little bit shorter than the last couple of sessions. So, which is great, because one of the things that I say to my clients is, here's the content. Let's keep this short, concise, and sweet so that you know exactly what you need to be focusing on. And then I want you to get into action, because knowledge is just knowledge. Great learning. You know, we all love to learn, but if we're not taking our learnings and if we're not implementing, then we can't make that bigger impact in the world with the work that we know that we want to do with our customers. So in the workbook, we're on page 11. And this is the 3 crucial shifts that'll help you go from invisible to influential and profitable, and finally have that business that you've been working so hard for. And the freedom, you know, and freedom can be so many different things for so many different people. You know, if we were talking to one another face to face, you term or your concept of freedom or concept of success is really very different, and that's okay. However, what I often will find with people is that they're stuck. There's something that they're wanting to achieve, but something, no matter how many practical steps they're doing, something is keeping them stuck. And I'm a firm believer in all of the years that I've been coaching and training and mentoring, you can have the best systems in place. You can have the best structure in place. You can have the same training, the same certification as many of your other, people that are working in your industry. You can have won awards, all of those different things. But what will often keep you stuck from building that business, from taking that next leap, from getting out even, more with your message and making a bigger impact, is what goes on up here. And that is mindset. So I want to talk about 3 different mindset shifts that I want you to start considering. That, is this something that is happening to me? And if it is, then again, celebrate it, because now you'll know to observe and to keep an eye out for that, so that you can make better choices and start to shift that thinking so that it doesn't keep you stuck. And I've already hinted to these 3 in a previous session. So it's nothing new. It is just repeating back what we've already spoken about, but then thinking about some strategy. So on page 11, the first is self-discrimination. And that is when we think, I'm just not good enough. And it's amazing how many people that I've interviewed over the years, hundreds of women and even men who have been in positions of real authority, and often they'll sort of admit to me, I have to be honest, I still pinch myself. I have no idea why I got this role, or why I got this project, or that I actually landed this project or proposal. They accepted my proposal, because I know that there's probably so many more people that are better at doing what I'm able to do. And yet when I look at their experience and what they have been able to achieve and the knowledge that they have, it's incredible. So if this is something that you do, you look at other people, you consider yourself as not good enough, you set the bar way too high. Perfectionism can often keep us stuck. And who here, put your hand up if you're a recovering perfectionist. It can keep us stuck. So one of the things that I've learned from my mentors and coaches over the years is something that I want to share with you, and that is, be a bit kinder to yourself. Give yourself the space and grace to be able to recognize that what you do have to offer is not only valuable, it is crucial for someone else to learn, someone else to understand, because you've gone through something, you now know something that someone else will find extremely helpful, because they're struggling with something that you've been able to overcome. And by you putting the bar so high, and, if you resonate with perfectionism, then you not getting that content out there means that your ideal client is still struggling, especially the ideal client who's waiting for someone like you. And as we mentioned in the last session and other sessions that we've been together, the experience that you create, which is very much driven by your approach and your attitude. Your aptitude is important, yeah, but it's your attitude and your approach that makes it very different in how you deliver your content. If I think about different podcast hosts, and I shared this yesterday on a virtual training, podcasting for introverts. A lot of people who come to me and, oh, no, I couldn't do podcasting. I'm an introvert. Well, guess what? So am I. Put me in front of a microphone, I'm fine. Put me in a room full of people where I know no one, and I would much prefer just to sit in a corner speaking to, a smaller group of people rather than speaking to people that I don't yet know. So, what I shared there was, people will come for the topic, but they'll return for the host. So the experience that you create in your podcast, the experience that you create if you're having an event, the experience you create when you're doing a live, that is what is going to resonate with your ideal client who was waiting for you to share your knowledge so that they could find out about you and then make the decision to reach out and find out how best they can work with you and how you can do that. And so I think if we often put put our expectations so high, which we would not do if it was a family member, someone we loved, even our clients, And if we look at perfection, what we deem, perfection to someone else might be way over the top, or maybe, well, that's not perfect. So, who determines what's perfect anyway? So, so often we just need to let it be. Do the best that you can do, and then just let it go. I can't remember the saying that one of my coaches often said to me, but it was basically, give it your best and then release it. Don't go back and check it. I mean, how many times have we done something and then we tweak it a little bit and then we go back and tweak it a little bit, and then we get to a stage where we're so obsessive about it we don't end up doing anything because we're afraid of it, being judged and so forth. So self-discrimination, please, please, please do not let that stop you from getting your content out there. Because if you continue to set the bar so high, guess what? You will continue to, fall short of that. And every single step that you take forward, that you move forward, is fine. I mean, I'll often listen back to some of the podcast interviews that I've done, or even the live streams, and we are the worst self-critics ever. Like, there's things that I say and that I do, and seriously, I could slap my forehead each time, but you just need to let it go, because someone somewhere around the world was listening to that, was watching that, and needed to hear that to be able to move forward. So don't put the bar too high. So that was the first one. The second one was self-doubt. And that is looking at, others can do it, but I can't. And that is disbelieving that the skills that you have, the talents, the strengths, and anything else of real value is of any value to offer. And so whilst you do have different strengths, you can tend to compare them to what other people are doing. And I think one of the biggest self-limiting beliefs that we have is to continuously compare ourselves to what other people are doing. Don't do it. Just don't do it. But start to look at what other people are doing and celebrate it and say, well, you know what? If it's possible for someone else, it's possible for me. And it's great that they're doing it that way. I'm going to do it this way. And I think that's why it's so important for us to recognize our unique gifts and strengths. Do some explorations as to what makes you unique. As many of you know, and I say again, because a lot of the knowledge that I have now, I learned and I experienced when I was in the career industry. And one of the benefits of working in the career industry and having to do a number of certifications and personality types, behavioral assessments and work styles, your cognitive behavior, all of that, was that I needed to evaluate myself too. And so there were things that I learned about myself, my preferences, my behavioral preferences, work environments in which I work really well. And one of the most recent ones was the Colbier assessment, where I realized that I was a quick start. And my eldest daughter, we were just having a conversation today. She said, if I have no time limit on something, I can procrastinate till the cows come home. And I said to her, don't worry, that's me too, quick start. But if you put deadlines in place, or if you know that you've got a project to work on, and she's a business owner too, you'll click into action and off you go. I said that's because we do our best work when we are up against challenges, because we're problem solvers, we're quick starts, we love new projects and that creativity. And so that's why when we know that, we can set ourselves up as far as the structure is concerned to be able to get our best work done. And why I share that example is because you may be experiencing some comparison issues which are keeping you stuck, and it's causing you to doubt yourself because you're looking at someone else who's able to work stably through the day, who is maybe able to work long hours, get up really early, go to bed really late. That's great. Celebrate that. Fantastic for you. But for you may need to work in shorter bursts. You may find that environments that you work are shorter time frames, but you get a lot more done. So once you recognize what makes you unique and, those gifts and strengths, and some of those gifts and strengths you may be negating because you assume that everyone else has that gift or that talent or that ability. Something that people would often say about me was that I was quite organized. And I just like to have things organized, because when I feel organized, I feel that I know where things are. And, like to have my timetable, all that kind of thing. Now, for me, it's just a natural thing. I like to be organized. But people would say to me, well, we love the fact that you're organized. So often, I was offered, come and join our committee, because I knew if things needed to be done, I would get them done, because I love to do that, the admin kind of stuff. Now, for me, it was like, that's not really a very good skill, to have. But take away that ability, so if you don't have those people that are part of your team who are organized, who like to get things done and into action, there's a huge gap, within that. So everyone brings skills to the table. And if you're not sure what your skills and your strengths are, can I encourage you to do some exploration to get really clear on that? Because there's a level of self-confidence that comes through when you are just in your space, and it doesn't come from arrogance. It just comes from confidence, because you know that you're stepping into an area that you know really well, because it's who you are. And when you mix that attitude and that approach, we talked about that in the distinction triad, alongside your aptitude, and you have that great balance, that is what's really going to tap in and make a difference in the industry that you are working in. And so you can look at other people not through self-criticism and comparison, but rather celebrating uniqueness, your uniqueness, and then be able to make that impact that you can make. And the last is self-disempowerment. And this is one that I know that I have struggled with. And that is where we think, you know what, I failed again. The life of an entrepreneur and a business owner, the success will come off the back of a failure after failure, after failure, after mishap, after missed milestone, after missed milestone. Because it's the learnings and the insights that we take from those failures that are going to create the foundations upon which we step up and we can move forward. I was just talking about this morning with my daughter. She runs a gym not so far away. And so we often, while we're all exercising together, talk. And we're talking about how important it is, especially for younger people today, to learn resilience. Resilience is like a muscle. And guess what? The only way to really shape resilience and character is to stretch. Like when you're weightlifting, you're actually tearing muscle. And it's in the, I'm not a medical person or anything like that, but you're tearing muscle. And that sounds raw, but, it's that strengthening of that muscle. It's similar with resilience, and it's similar, in the case of a business owner. Not all things are going to work out really well, and that's okay. So I think when we look at our failings and our missed milestones, and if you look at it through the lens of, well, I'm a failure, I stuffed up again, it didn't work, then that's going to keep you stuck, especially for people who are in service-based businesses who really are in business because it's very much part of who they are and the value that they want to offer, that you want to offer. And so what ends up happening is you then play small. I remember a number of years ago, I was working with a group of ambitious women, and a number of them had gone through a year of a high-level masterminding in a group. And there were a number of us who started the year who fell short of the goals that we set ourselves. We're told to dream big, set bold goals. But for many of us who do that, and we worked our butt off, but we didn't achieve what we wanted to, we look at that as failure. So what we do is we move the bar down. We move the bar down. I mean, obviously you don't want to set it so far that, again, you're setting yourself up for failure. But if you set the bar high and you're not stretching yourself, you're never going to stretch yourself and get to that level that you want to. And so if you're not setting goals because it's being underpinned by that belief that, look, I've tried before, but I really didn't achieve what I wanted to, which means, there's something that's stopping you there. So celebrate your failures. You've heard that saying, fail fast. Don't let it stop you. And thankfully, there are so many more business owners now and entrepreneurs who have made it, so to speak. They are getting noticed. They're making a bigger impact in the world, and their businesses are growing. They're now sharing the heartaches, sharing the challenges, sharing the obstacles that they had to overcome to be able to achieve that. So you're not alone. And in actual fact, I think if we had war stories that everyone would share, there would be some real doozies that we would share. And then we would realize, gosh, I'm not the only one who has set my bar high and not achieved. But guess what? Celebrate the mini milestones that you did achieve. Celebrate the fact that you did pick up the phone and ring someone. Even if you got a no, that next time and that next time and that next time, you will get that yes. But please don't look at failure as something that's only something that you experience, because that's just part of business. It's part of the entrepreneurial journey. And if you look at it as a way that you're bodybuilding, your character building, and every single situation, even the what you would call negative ones, they're actually building character. They're strengthening you for the next season, for the next stage in your business growth, if you let it, and if you're able to see the learnings and the insights, because those learnings and insights can be woven into your story. Those learnings and insights can be woven into the hindsight and the wisdom that you then share with your clients, because you can help them avoid that. You've gone forward, you've gone through your entrepreneurial journey and learned the lessons that you can now teach and weave into your aptitude to be able to support clients getting there far quicker, and then avoiding the pitfalls and the mistakes that you had to go through. And for some of us, we've got a wealth and depth of knowledge, don't we, to be able to share in that way. So once you start to reframe your thinking and thinking, well, you know what, that's a way that I know now not to do that, or that worked really well, maybe if I change this up, it can be a little bit different. Again, it's reframing how you choose to look at it. So hopefully those three key points were helpful. So to really challenge that mindset shift. And as you go through the week, just to keep a check, what are things that happen that cause you to start to question, and doubt yourself, or to stop yourself from putting your hand up and saying, yeah, I'd love to speak at that event, or going up to someone at a networking event because you think, what on earth, why would they want to speak with me or to me? What value do I have to offer? Be mindful of that self critical voice, that it's not stopping you from stepping out, making great connections, and then making a bigger impact in the world. So that's it. So tomorrow we are going to wrap it all up, tie it all together. It's the 5th day. And we'll be putting it all together for sustainable and scalable business growth. I'll be talking about 3 stages of the buyer's journey, and just so that you can be aware of that, because some of you, as I mentioned, as one of the mistakes, you're implementing a correct marketing tactic or strategy. However, it's at the wrong time for your business. So many different things that we can do in our business, but at what stage are you at to in your business, and what should you be focusing on? So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about kind of your ideal customer and customers in general, potential customers. And the insight that I'll share with you tomorrow has been really life-changing for a lot of people, if I can say that word, because it's an aha, and then you realize, oh, okay, that's why. Then you can start focusing on what's really important and start to nurture those relationships with people as they're on that buyer's journey. So hope to see you back there tomorrow. If we're not connected yet, because I'm streaming across a number of different platforms, or if you've just gotten to know me, look, would love to find out a little bit more about your business. Please feel free to comment. I always go back and review what people are saying, and if there's questions. And please, if you haven't already watched session 1, 2, and 3, go and do that as well. The links to those particular live streams should be here somewhere on the platform that you're in. Finally caught one. Fantastic. There you go. By the way, StreamYard, what I'm using, hasn't allowed me to see who you are, Facebook user. It's just coming up at Facebook user. But I'll pop into the group and I'll be able to see who you are that commented. All right, we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.